Welcome back to another episode of JK Philly. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you don't mind dropping a subscription and a follow to the channel, we greatly appreciate it. Let's get into it. 22 to 10 Eagles win. Went about as I expected it to go. What are your thoughts from the game before I shed what I think?
I think it was a very comfortable win for the Eagles. This game, if you could guess how a game was going to go, I think you would guess it was going to go something like this. Packers have their problems, and I think Jordan Love is one of them, which I'll get to. But with that being said, they were a top 10 offense and defense this year, so I didn't think the Eagles were just going to go in there and steamroll them. I thought it would be a little higher scoring, but the Eagles defense looked very good tonight.
I was just gonna say from the beginning, they looked really good. At least the first half, they looked like pretty solid. I forget who it was that got hurt or somebody got taken out or something. And the start of the third quarter looked like not struggled, but you could definitely see the gaps with that person off. I don't want to not mention his name. It was somebody that Tone said.
The linebacker, Nakobe Dean.
Yeah, and the Kobe Dean when he
Yeah,
got taken off.
yeah. Yeah, he looked a little more. He that looked a little serious. Slay. I haven't seen an update on his injury yet, but he was getting carted into the locker room,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be a big loss. 128 tackles on the season.
Mm.
You need a linebacker. You need a linebacker. Every good team to me needs a linebacker over 100 tackles. You got to have a dude in the middle of that field
Yeah.
getting tackles, and he was that all year. A great year from him. He really stepped up this year
Mm-hmm.
and answered a lot of the question marks that were surrounding him. There's not any anymore. They got a linebacker for the foreseeable future.
Right.
Slay being banged up too, but Slay ended up going back out there.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how healthy he is for next week. But all in all, it was a good win. It's the playoffs. Playoff wins don't always look great. Even with the Ravens yesterday, the Ravens were pretty much dominating that game the entire time. And then you look in the third quarter and it's 28-14. Like the Steelers weren't completely out of it. The only team that really blew somebody out, the Texans blew the Chargers out, but the
Yeah.
Bills blew the Broncos out today too. But the Eagles had a firm grip on that game the whole time. At no point was I scared they were gonna lose that game.
Yeah, it was definitely competitive. I think obviously when Dean went down, you could see a little bit of a lapse in their defense, but they were still so solid enough that it didn't really make any much of a difference. With Darius Slay and Dean, with them going out with injuries, and then you've also got the Packers getting injuries. I think it was almost like 5 or 6 players on the Packers that got hurt, and like Romeo Dobbs, Jaden Reed, I think his name's Josh Myers, like just a bunch of people that were like really needed to be in that game just went out, and it's unfortunate. I obviously it could have been a factor in them getting a comeback and something like that, but at the end of the day, it was at a point where we were already locking you up for a whole half. So if you were really gonna do something, we could have seen it, but at the end of the day, I felt pretty confident even with him going out as well. Who were we supposed to go up against? We're supposed to go against the Commanders and Washington game.
I believe it depends on who wins. If depending on who wins this game, there could be a shuffle.
I think I was listening to the announcer saying that if the Packers won the game, they would go up against the Lions or something like that. I don't know. I'm not too versed in how
Yeah,
the
because the
playoffs work.
Packers. So the Packers were a wild card team, and they were the last wild card team because the Lions division sent 3 teams to the playoffs. The Lions won their division and got the bye.
Hmm.
The Vikings play tomorrow, and they finished second.
Hmm.
And then the Packers made it, but they finished third in the division, which just shows how strong that division was. So if the Packers won, they would have been the worst remaining seed. So they would have played the Lions. Basically, the Lions get whoever the worst remaining seed is.
But so basically, we can either play the winner of the Vikings Chargers or the winner of the Commanders Washington game.
Not Vikings, Chargers. Chargers in the AFC. Vikings. I can't. They play them tomorrow. I can't think of who they play.
You talking about Vikings Rams?
Vikings, Rams. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's no shot that we play the Lions. That we just got to play the Commanders. Whoever wins out of the Commanders and what's it called? Bucks.
I believe so because I'm not 100% sure though because like the Bucks won their division to get in. and the Commanders got in on the wild card because they're in the Eagles division. They didn't win their division. They got in off record.
Regardless, so if we're moving on from that, basically we don't know. Obviously, it's Sunday at 8:30 p.m. recording this. We don't know who's about to win this last game and how they're going to reseed to see who the Eagles are going to end up playing. However, with how we performed today, there's obviously things that we could work on. But overall, I would say we had a pretty good game. I don't know the statistics specifically. I was just remembering and listening to the game of I don't think AJ Brown was utilized a lot today, if he needed to be or not. I don't really understand. Like I'd look at stuff in basketball terms of, well, if so and so was on the bench a lot, or if so and so scored 5 points. I don't know if that's different in like the football world of like, well, we didn't get it to AJ Brown enough because Saquon Barkley was good enough to like get us to where we needed to be. I don't know if that's how football works in that sense, but I don't know if AJ Brown was utilized a lot today in terms of like statistics.
AJ Brown's one of the best wide receivers in football. You could always use him more.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of them guys. He's so good. It's like there's an old quote about from Calvin Johnson's old offensive coordinator where he questioned Matt Stafford throwing the ball to Calvin Johnson late in the game because he was like double covered. And they said, do you think it was a bad idea to throw to Calvin Johnson in that situation? And he said, it's never a bad idea to throw to Calvin Johnson. You know, I don't care if there's 5 guys on him. It's never a bad idea.
Right.
AJ Brown's he's not Megatron. He's not Calvin Johnson, but he's in that same kind of, it's never a bad idea to throw the ball to AJ Brown.
Right.
Like, because he could go up there and get it. But teams game plan for AJ Brown. They know how good he is. So, like, they're going to try to take him away. And Hurts did a good job of getting the ball to guys like, you know, he got it to Goddard. What a touchdown run by Goddard, man. To get that, stay on his feet where it looked like he might stumble at the beginning, get back up, stiff arm the same guy 3 times as the dude chased him to the end zone.
Right.
Jalen Hurts did what he needed to do. Jalen Hurts is never going to be a guy. He's never going to be a gunslinging, like, quarterback who's going to throw for 420 yards and 5 touchdowns. Like, but he's good enough to get the job done, especially with Saquon back there. The Eagles' offense looked, you know, it didn't look crazy explosive, but yeah, that's a really good defense in Green Bay. That's not a bullshit defense.
Right.
Just a quick rundown on the other games. Bills looked very good. Bills-Ravens, that rematch. The Ravens killed the Bills early in the year. That game was not competitive. It was never close. The Ravens pretty much dominated from the beginning. I don't think that game's going to go like this now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it'll go the same way. I slightly like the Ravens in that game, but I think that's going to be one hell of a game, especially considering Lamar and Josh Allen were basically battling for the MVP the last 6-7 weeks of the season. We knew it was down to them too, with Patrick Mahomes kind of, you know, it's crazy to say a dude who only, you know, they lost 2 games record-wise, but they pretty much only lost 1 game. They sat all their starters the last week.
Right.
It's crazy to say a guy who only lost 1 game all season didn't really look like himself, but we've seen Patrick Mahomes. He didn't really look like Patrick Mahomes this year. So
Right.
the playoff or the MVP race was basically Lamar and Josh Allen,
Mm-hmm.
and it's looking like Lamar probably edged him.
Moving over to the Sixers, nothing really player-wise other than, you know, Joel Embiid still going out with injury. Now it's his foot, you know, whoop-de-doo, whatever. Talking about the recent news about from what I read, I don't know if I'm just dumb or if it was a little bit confusing. Sounds like that the whole new arena is just like done with, or they're just putting a new arena still, but they're gonna keep it in South Philly.
Pretty much.
Okay, that's what I was
Yeah.
trying to read out of it. So that's really exciting news because just having conversations with anybody that you see that likes basketball, and it's just like, hey man, what do you think about, you know, the new stadium that they think they're gonna build? It's always the conversation of like nobody really likes it, nobody likes the idea of it.
Nope.
It would be cool, obviously, to have a new stadium. It just sucks at the location.
And apparently they're also going to try to bid for a WNBA team as well with building the new stadium.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I'd be happy if it stayed put. Philly has a very, very unique thing where I don't think any other professional sports city has all four of their major sports teams in one spot. Like that's
Right.
crazy. That's very unique, and it's one thing I love. I love being able to go to the same spot to watch a Flyers, Sixers,
Mm-hmm.
Eagles, or what team did that? Phillies. Thank you.
Yeah.
Phillies game. It's a very cool and unique experience to have all of them right there. I would hate to see that taken away. And like you said, it was one of them things like we don't live in Philadelphia. We live in the surrounding area, but we didn't want to see it. The people that lived in Philly where they were going to put the stadium were like, yo, we don't want that. There's already enough traffic and stuff going on here. Like, we don't want more of that. It didn't seem like anybody was on board with this, to the point where they said they even got Adam Silver and Roger Goodell involved in this. Like, they said the commissioners came together
Oh yeah,
and
because
talked about it.
it was so many. I don't know if you saw like the not protests, but people going to the meetings, like the council meetings and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and just
Yeah.
protesting against it. Like it was bad, and I get it in the sense of I think the discrepancy was like it was supposed to be in Chinatown, but then they're like, no, we clarified that it's right next to Chinatown and it's not going to affect the businesses there. But then it's like, yes, it is because blah blah. But I didn't
Yeah. Yeah.
understand any of the specifics with it. It sounded a little bit too much, and I don't really care about the area that it goes in. But it's nice that people were vocal enough for them to really make a change about it and inevitably just put it back where it's supposed to be and just give us a new stadium there like it should have always been.
I was coming home from Cancun and we were flying in from Orlando,
Hmm.
and it was nighttime. Seeing the four stadiums from the air, like all together, it looks so cool.
Yeah,
It looks so cool at night with all the stadiums lit up.
yeah. It makes
Yeah.
it makes so much sense for you to put it like we're obviously Pennsylvania or the Philadelphia area is a big sports town, but I don't understand why all states don't just do that. It would make so much sense, even if you don't got like a hockey team or like a major baseball team or whatever. It's like just keep your stadiums close though, keep it in
Right.
one
You
big
probably you
area.
still probably got at least three.
Right, right. So
Mm-hmm.
no, I thought it was cool though. Um,
Yeah, me too.
I really don't feel like talking about the Sixers. Like in terms of the players, there's really nothing to talk about. It's been the
Yeah.
same stuff that's been going on. Joel's hurt, Paul George sucks, and Maxi is inconsistent. That's really
Yeah.
all it's been.
Yeah, it is. They're very hard to watch right now. I've been enjoying watching basketball. I've been tuning into a lot of Thunder game because they're very fun to watch right now. Watching Williams play
Yeah.
and just keep getting better every game. He just keeps getting better and better, man.
Hmm.
And to add that to an MVP candidate with Shy and Chet Holmgren, and that team is just oozing talent right now.
Hmm.
Um, them versus the Cavs was a really fun game because the Cavs look really good right now. I mean, you're talking about two teams. I think one team has 4 losses, the other has 6. So you're talking about two
Yeah.
of the best teams in the league. They're fun to watch. I've been watching some Nuggets games. The Nuggets are always Jokic is always fun to watch,
Hmm.
and he's always healthy. I don't know what it's like having an all-star MVP caliber center who just never seems to be hurt. Must be nice.
I'm excited. I'm excited for the rest of these football games. I'm more excited for the Super Bowl just to like be here and happen so I can get back to just talking about majorly basketball. I want to have so much more discussion about the league and what's going on and like the problems and analysis of uh, games and stuff like that. Obviously, like going over that OKC game and Cavs game, just analysis wise, would be great just to sit there for like an hour and a half and just look at that. But um, other than that, I don't personally have anything else. We're gonna see who the Eagles end up playing. Hopefully, it's Vikings or
I don't
Rams.
think it matters, man.
Vikings
They
or
win no
Rams.
matter what.
Yeah, yeah. So
They win no matter what.
we'll see how that happens. But that's all I have